It is a Tuesday night here by Lake Michigan, and it is 8:20 at night. It is June the 14th, 2016. It is 80 degrees, and I am sitting here in the dining room listening to the music of the Swans. White Light from the Mouth of Infinity and Love of Life. 3 CD deluxe edition reissue. The reason why I got the Swans out tonight is I got an email from the Swans. They put their music out on Young Gods Records. Michael Gira. I'm getting the new Swans CD. Well, I'm getting the Glowing Man 2 CD and a DVD of a concert. I pre-ordered that. I have everything by the Swans. So yeah, I got that coming in the mail. So yeah, I'm sitting here writing in my diary. I'm on page 508 today. And before I got on to making a video, I was reading this evening I.S. Murdoch, A Life by Peter J. Conradi. I was reading that. And I was reading Living on Paper, Letters of Iris Murdoch, 1935 to 1995 by Averell Horner and Anne Rowe. So I was reading that. And before I was reading about Iris Murdoch, I was reading... What was I reading? Oh, I was reading, once again, this big book, a novel, a biography by Michael Schmidt. Today I finished the chapter that was titled, Manners. And this chapter looked at the writers. The last one I read was on Jane Austen. And yeah, this chapter dealt with Fanny Burney and Jane Austen. I don't think I've ever read any Jane Austen. She wrote Sense and Sensibility. She wrote Persuasion. She wrote Emma. And in this chapter, he discusses each of those novels: Persuasion, Sense and Sensibility. One of her earlier novels I never heard of was called Love and Friendship and Lady Susan. That's Jane Austen's one of her earlier novels. But she's known for Sense and Sensibility, and she's known for her novel Persuasion. And in this chapter he discusses those novels. Oh yeah, she wrote Mansfield Park and Emma. I think Mansfield Park was made into a movie just recently. I'm sure all of her novels have been made into movies, Jane Austen. So yeah, I read that this afternoon. And before that, I read an essay in here by Cyril Percival, her Living, Thinking, and Looking Essays. I read that. And this morning I read a little bit Summer Without Men by Cyril Percival. And I finished this morning The Dark Night of the Soul by St. John of the Cross. I have two translations of the Dark Knight. And I'm thinking about reading this next by John Rusabik, The Spiritual Espousals. I try to read this also once a year. I don't seem to be in the mood right now to read my heavy Christian academic books. I'm kind of like in a contemplative state, kind of like I don't want to read something that's intellectually taxing spiritually, and I always find these edifying. So I try to read St. John of the Cross once a year. I also got this edition, St. John of the Cross. And so I finished The Dark Knight. And I'll probably read The Spiritual Espousals next. Yeah, he lived during the, he was born, John Rusabik, he was born in 1293 and he died in 1381. So yeah, this is one of my favorite books. It's in the Classics of Western Spirituality series, Spiritual Espousals and Other Works. I try to read this at least once a year too. And I've been reading in the mornings a treatise on earthly mindedness. Well, I've been reading in here. I'm almost finished with the treatise here on walking with God. Enoch walked with God and he was not, for God took him. Genesis 5:24 is the text of this treatise by Jeremiah Burroughs. He was born in 1599 and he died in 1646. So I was going to talk about, I got a book in the mail yesterday. This is a book I got in the mail, Sexual Anarchy, the Gender and Culture at the Fen Ding Xing by Elaine Shoewater. I just ordered her novel, not a novel, she wrote a biography that's got a lot of critical attention called Civil Wars of Julia Ward Howe, a biography by Elaine Shoewater. I ordered that and I should be getting that in the mail. But I came across, this is one of her earlier, not a novel, but one of her cultural studies. It's kind of a feminist study. It was published in, I think, 1990. But I was reading this yesterday, Sexual Anarchy, Gender and Culture at the Fin de Xing. So I was reading that. I was going to mention, I was going to start reading another biography. But then I felt I should finish Iris Murdoch's biography before I start another one. But I want to show you just some of the biographies that I've recently have on my desk or in the living room that I want to read. I just bought this one last month, The Whole Harmonium, The Life of Wallace Stevens by Paul Morani. And I bought a biography on William Blake, the poet and engraver, by Paul Ackroyd. And I bought this biography on Elizabeth Bowen, who was a writer, by Victoria Glenning. Elizabeth Bowen, A Portrait of a Writer. It's another biography. Just bought this biography of Edward Dorn. He was a 60s poet. He was one of the West Coast poets. This is written by Tom Clark. I look at Tom Clark's website every day. He's a poet and he writes biographies. And he wrote this biography of Edward Dorn, A World of Difference. It's another biography I bought. And I bought recently this biography on James Laughlin, who was the publisher of New Directions. This is by Ian S. McNiven. And then I bought this, I got this from the Book Nook, the library used bookstore. Edward Munich, Behind the Screen. This is the painter who did the Scream. We all know the Scream. So there's a picture of the Scream. This is a biography of his life behind the screen by Sue Pridadix. I got that. And then I bought at a used bookstore a biography of George Eliot, Voice of a Century by Frederick R. Carl. I figure I have about 800 biographies, and I have so many biographies that I bought from used bookstores or got from thrift stores that I need to read. I just love biographies, and that's probably why I keep a diary. It's my biography. I like reading biographies of writers and poets and painters, and I do read biographies of politicians, journalists, people like that. I like reading biographies because I like reading about people's lives. That's why I watch BookTube about people who talk about books and talk about their lives, and why I keep 4 online diaries. I read people's online diaries every day. I just like biographies, and that's why I suppose I keep a diary. So that's what's on my mind in my book world tonight. Tomorrow I have to cover for somebody at the Hendrick District Public Library used bookstore and help set up for the used book sale Friday, Saturday, and next Monday. So that's all that's on my mind tonight. I'm hoping you're having a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.